Hello, welcome back to Mysterious Case. Here, we provide information about real-life cases. No exaggeration or incitement of violence. We always encourage positivity from everyone. The videos on our channel are intended for informational or educational purposes. Additionally, we understand the pain of victims and their families, empathizing with the loss they have endured. Thank you. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing to our channel to build a healthy community. Now, let's revisit the case of Ebby Jane Steppach. Ebby Jane Steppach, an 18-year-old at the time of the incident, full of energy, born on March 31, 1997, in Little Rock, Arkansas, is the central figure in a mysterious case that shocked the local community. Also known as Ebster or Eb Jane, Ebby was a girl with a strong personality, a sense of humor, and a warm heart. She loved children, the color purple, music, and had a passion for photography and the beach. I also like children and music. Ebby's dreams were to become a beauty specialist and a real estate agent. She was studying at Little Rock Central High School and pursuing Spanish, Turkish, and even Hebrew with her grandmother Debbie. In 2015, Ebby was in a transitional phase into adulthood. She decided to leave her family home to seek independence, living alternately with her grandparents, friends, and her brother Trevor. However, this period was also challenging. Ebby began to rebel, skipping school, attending secret parties, and associating with unsuitable groups, which strained her relationship with her family. Despite this, the love between her and her family remained unchanged. The case began in October 2015, when Ebby suddenly vanished after a distressing event at a party. Her disappearance was not only a mystery, but also exposed serious errors in the police investigation, leaving her family and community in pain and with unanswered questions. Ebby's story is a journey of seeking the truth, confronting loss, and tirelessly striving for justice for a young woman full of potential. Little Rock, the capital of Arkansas, where the case took place, is a small city with a population of about 200,000, known for the natural beauty of Mount Magazine and Devil's Den parks. However, it is also a place with a high poverty rate, ranking 4th among the poorest states in the U.S. This context played a significant role in Ebby's story, as resource limitations may have impacted the investigation process. By the way,
So I am confusion. Why is this one Kansas, but this one is not Arkansas? America, explain! Explain! What do you mean in Arkansas?
October 2015 marked a tragic turning point in Ebby Steppach's life. On the evening of October 23rd, Ebby attended a party at a house without informing her family. What happened there changed everything. The next day, she returned home in distress and shared horrifying news with her stepfather, Michael. She had been sexually assaulted by 4 men at the party, and the act was recorded on video. This news devastated Michael, but he vowed to support Ebby through it. She expressed her intention to report the incident to the police but needed time to gather the courage. In her turmoil, Ebby texted 2 of the attackers, stating she would report them to the police. However, she wasn't ready to take that step. After talking with Michael, Ebby went to her grandparents' house to rest, which I think was necessary. She spent the afternoon lying in bed watching her favorite show, SpongeBob SquarePants, trying to temporarily escape her pain. That evening, she went with her grandparents to eat frozen yogurt at TCBY in West Little Rock. Ebby kept the horrific incident to herself, sharing it only with Michael. Around 7:50 p.m. on October 24th, Ebby texted Michael, asking if he could accompany her to the police station to report the assault. Michael agreed and arranged to meet her later. Just 10 minutes later, Ebby waved goodbye to her grandparents, promising to see them again that weekend. But that was the last time they saw her. Ebby didn't go to her mother and stepfather's house or return to her grandparents. Her phone was unreachable, and messages sent to her went unanswered. More concerning. That evening, Ebby continued texting threats to her attackers, and there were reports that she made 2 one-minute calls to the police, though these calls were never confirmed. These actions suggest Ebby was trying to confront those who harmed her, but in doing so, she may have unknowingly put herself in danger. Around 5:30 p.m. on October 25, 2015, Ebby Steppach's family received their final contact from her. Ebby called her brother Trevor, but the conversation deeply alarmed him. During the call, Ebby sounded panicked, confused, and unable to answer Trevor's questions clearly. When he asked where she was, Ebby replied that she was outside your house. But when Trevor went outside to check, there was no sign of his sister. He pressed further, asking if she was with anyone. But Ebby couldn't specify, only saying she was in a car and felt all messed up. Her voice trembled with anxiety, as if she was unaware of her surroundings. Worried, Trevor tried calling Ebby back, but she didn't answer. He contacted their father to try to locate her phone, but to no avail. This was the last time the family heard Ebby's voice. Just 2 hours later, Ebby was supposed to meet her close friend Danielle at an ice cream party, but she never showed up. This uncharacteristic absence sent Danielle and Ebby's family into a panic. They repeatedly called and texted her, but all efforts were futile. Ebby had vanished. The family promptly reported Ebby's disappearance to the Little Rock police, but the authorities' response was deeply disappointing. The police classified Ebby as a runaway, refusing to initiate a search and instructing the family to wait an additional 12 hours for the case to qualify for an official report. They dismissed the family's insistence that Ebby would never leave without informing them. This delay forced Ebby's family and friends to take matters into their own hands. They printed and distributed flyers across the city, questioned people on the streets, and spread the word on social media, hoping to uncover any clue about the young woman. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to them, a critical piece of evidence lay dormant at Chalamont Park, far from central Little Rock, a location that would soon become the focal point of the case. 3 days after Ebby Steppach's disappearance, on October 28, 2015, a security guard at Chalamont Park, located on the outskirts of Little Rock, discovered an abandoned vehicle in a parking lot near a wooded area. Chalamont Park was then an underdeveloped area, with unfinished roads and vacant houses. The vehicle, a silver 2003 Volkswagen Passat, belonged to Ebby. However, this discovery was not handled promptly. The security guard called the police, but after waiting 2 hours with no response, it took an additional 2 days and multiple follow-ups for the police to finally inspect the scene. Upon examining the vehicle, the police uncovered several disturbing details. The car was out of gas, the battery was dead, and the keys were still in the ignition, suggesting the vehicle may have been left running until it failed. Inside, Ebby's belongings, her house keys, phone, wallet, makeup, and contact lenses, were scattered, with many items broken. Notably, Ebby's expensive makeup kit, which she cherished, was inexplicably destroyed. Ebby's mother, Lori, insisted that her daughter would never damage her makeup or leave behind her phone and money if she had left intentionally. These signs clearly indicated that Ebby did not abandon the vehicle willingly. Yet, shockingly, the police displayed a dismissive attitude. They failed to interview key witnesses, did not check nearby security cameras, and even tried to convince the family that Ebby had simply run away and would soon return. This negligence eroded the family's trust in the investigation. Unwilling to stand idly by, Ebby's family and friends began searching for clues around the area where the car was found. A friend of Ebby's noticed an unusual foul odor coming from a drainage pipe just a few meters from the vehicle. The friend's mother immediately reported this to the police, but, tragically, the police dismissed it as a typical sewer smell. This decision to overlook a critical clue would have profound consequences in the search for Ebby.
One was location emergency.
I just came out of a meeting with Detective Williams in regards to a missing person named Ebby.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
He said that the car was located in this park, and I brought my daughter here, who's a friend of hers, and we just started walking around, and I could smell decomposition. So I was just tried to call his phone, and he didn't call me back. Could you send somebody here to investigate And this is where he said her car was found, and I brought my daughter Kaylee.
Okay.
She had been here with her before.
Sure.
We came here.
Okay.
We were going to have her look around, and as I passed the sewer, I could smell decomposition.
Okay, just a second.
And it does look like the area would be big enough for somebody to fit in.
All right. I want to see who we need to get out there, and then I will call you in just a few minutes, and we'll go from there, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, bye-bye.
The indifference of the Little Rock police in Ebby Steppach's disappearance sparked outrage among her family and community. Despite finding Ebby's car in suspicious condition at Chalamont Park, the police did not treat the case as serious. They failed to carefully collect evidence from the scene, leaving the car exposed to heavy rain for days, which caused water to seep into the trunk, damaging Ebby's belongings and critical evidence. Additionally, the police neglected to review footage from nearby security cameras, missing a vital opportunity to gather information, as most surveillance data is typically erased after a month. Multiple times, Ebby's family and friends reported a foul odor emanating from a drainage pipe near the car, but the police dismissed it as a common sewer smell. They claimed to have used cadaver dogs to search the area, finding nothing. But these assertions failed to convince Ebby's family, who believed she was in danger and would never leave without contact. Faced with the authorities' inaction, Ebby's family and friends persisted. They continued distributing flyers, seeking information from the public, and using social media to spread Ebby's story, hoping someone could provide a lead. By late November 2015, the police conducted a larger-scale search at Chalamont Park, but it yielded no results. As time passed, despair grew. In June 2017, Ebby's family announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to her whereabouts. They even appeared on the Dr. Phil show in December 2017 to draw national attention, but all efforts were in vain. By 2018, Ebby's case was classified as a cold case, dimming hopes of uncovering the truth. Nevertheless, Ebby's family refused to give up. They hired a private investigator to delve deeper into the case, determined to find answers to the mysterious disappearance of the young woman. In 2018, a glimmer of hope emerged in Ebby Steppach's case when retired Detective Tommy Hudson returned to work to focus on cold cases, including Ebby's. Driven by a strong hunch, Hudson revisited Chalamont Park, where Ebby's car was found 3 years earlier. Standing at the spot where the car was abandoned, he wondered, where could Ebby have gone? His gaze settled on a drainage system less than 60 feet away, the same area where a foul odor had been reported years before. The drainage system featured a manhole cover leading to a small chamber connected to a narrow pipe, approximately 15 to 18 inches in diameter. With Ebby's shoulder width estimated at about 14 inches, Hudson realized she could fit through the pipe. Despite earlier police dismissals of the odor as typical sewer stench, Hudson insisted on a thorough inspection. He requested a probe camera to examine both ends of the pipe. The results were shocking. An obstruction was detected about 70 feet from one end. On May 18, 2018, an investigation team excavated the drainage pipe to investigate. Upon reaching the obstruction, they discovered human remains. The very next day, the remains were confirmed to be Ebby Steppach's. She was found just meters from her car, in the exact location where her family and friends had reported the foul odor 3 years prior. This discovery brought a mix of relief and anguish to Ebby's family. They finally knew where she was, but their hope that she was alive vanished. The fact that Ebby was so close to where her car was abandoned sparked outrage among her family and community. Ebby's mother, Lori, expressed agonizing regret, stating that if the police had acted sooner, they could have found her early on and possibly identified her killer. The police's delay and negligence prolonged the family's suffering and squandered opportunities to seek justice. The discovery of Ebby's remains raised new questions. How did she end up in the drain? And who was responsible for her death?
Authorities are excavating human remains found at West Little Rock's Chalamont Park.
This is near the location where Ebby Steppach's car was found shortly after she disappeared in late 2015.
TG11's Caitlin Gardenhire is monitoring this story for new developments. And what are we learning, Caitlin?
Police found human remains inside Chalamont Park about 10:30 this morning. Since then, they have been out here. Little Rock Police, the FBI, the coroner, Public Works Department. We are getting a first look. The tape has just been taken down. This is a first look at where the human remains were found. This is the drainage pipe that they have been digging up since 10:30 this morning. So this could be huge news. This is the same park police last searched in 2016 in connection with the disappearance of Ebby Steppach. She was 18 years old when she disappeared in 2015, and this is the park where her car was found.
Cold case investigators decided that we needed to look in a drainage pipe that runs here down the back of the park, and we used Public Works to pull up the pipe and to dig it up, and once we got the pipe up, they were able to see that there was human remains inside that part of the pipe.
These are the drainage pipes that they have been searching since about 10:30 this morning. This is where they found the human remains. The remains are being sent off for identification. Little Rock Police say they didn't get a tip about this. They told us that they were just wanting to further investigate. So hopefully we will have some more news and information about this later.
When Ebby Steppach's body was found in a drainage pipe at Chalamont Park in May 2018, her family was overwhelmed with mixed emotions. Relief at finally locating Ebby, coupled with profound grief and anger over the Little Rock Police's incompetence. The fact that Ebby was found just meters from her car, in the very spot where a foul odor was reported, raised a glaring question. Why didn't the police thoroughly investigate from the start? According to Ebby's mother, Lori, this delay not only prolonged the family's suffering, but also squandered chances to identify the perpetrator. The police made numerous critical errors. They failed to carefully collect evidence from the car, ignored reports of the foul odor, and neglected to check area security cameras. In the days after the car was found, heavy rain damaged items inside because the police left the trunk open. These mistakes shattered the family's trust in the investigation. Lori and stepfather Michael were furious that the police did not interview key witnesses, particularly the 4 men Ebby accused of sexually assaulting her at the party. The discovery of Ebby's body raised new questions. How did she end up in the drainage pipe? Did she enter it herself, or was she placed there? One theory suggested heavy rain after her disappearance may have washed her body into the drain, but this didn't explain why she was there in the first place. Detective Tommy Hudson, who found Ebby, believed it was a homicide based on the condition of her remains, though specific details were not disclosed. Meanwhile, the Little Rock Police maintained that Ebby might have entered the pipe herself, a theory her family and community deemed absurd. These unanswered questions, combined with the authorities' lack of transparency, kept Ebby's case shrouded in mystery, leaving her family in anguish and yearning for justice. Numerous theories about Ebby Steppach's death have emerged, but none provide clear answers. The Little Rock Police once suggested Ebby might have crawled into the drain herself, after damaging her belongings and leaving her car running until it ran out of gas. However, her family and community rejected this, arguing there was no reason for her to act this way. The heavy manhole cover further undermined this theory, as it would have been nearly impossible for her to close it behind herself. The most widely believed theory points to the 4 men Ebby accused of sexually assaulting her at the October 23, 2015 party. After Ebby threatened to report them to the police, 1 or more may have panicked and killed her to cover up their crime. The perpetrators could have taken her to Chalamont Park, murdered her, and hidden her body in the nearby drainage pipe, the closest place to conceal evidence. The haphazard state of her abandoned car supports the idea that the killer acted in a panic. Another possibility is that Ebby was killed elsewhere, and her body was later placed in the drain at Chalamonte, with her car left behind to mislead investigators. Alternatively, some speculate her death was unrelated to the assault, caused by an unknown individual for reasons still unclear. An ex-boyfriend once suggested Ebby might have suffered an accident due to drug use, leading her to crawl into the drain in a disoriented state. However, those who spoke with her that evening insisted she was coherent, though deeply shaken from the prior night's assault. Each theory has some plausibility, but the lack of concrete evidence keeps the case at a standstill. Detective Tommy Hudson believes it was a homicide, but undisclosed details about the condition of Ebby's remains fuel ongoing debates. The police's failure to seize the phones of the 4 suspects to search for the assault video further obscures the truth. Ebby's case remains an unsolved puzzle, leaving her family and community grappling with lingering questions. The loss of Ebby Steppach was not only a personal tragedy, but also left a profound wound in her family and community. Her mother, Lori, and stepfather, Michael, though relieved to know her fate, were consumed by grief and outrage. They constantly questioned why the police ignored obvious clues, like the foul odor from the drainage pipe, prolonging the search for Ebby by 3 years. Lori once shared that an earlier discovery could have allowed the family to hold a funeral sooner, ending their prolonged anguish, and might have made it easier to pursue the perpetrator. The pain of losing Ebby was compounded by another tragedy. Her brother Trevor, who received her final call, couldn't withstand the emotional toll of the case. In 2020, at age 35, Trevor died suddenly of a heart attack, leaving Lori without both of her children. This successive loss plunged Lori and Michael into inconsolable grief. They not only lost Ebby, but also the chance for justice, as her case remains unsolved. The Little Rock community was deeply shaken by the case. Many who knew Ebby remembered her as a compassionate young woman who stood up for the vulnerable and brought smiles to those around her. Her family described her as fiercely loyal, deeply loving, and always seeking reconciliation after conflicts. Her absence left a gaping void in the hearts of those who cherished her. The case also sparked widespread frustration with the Little Rock police, whose errors caused a case with numerous leads to stall. Despite the years that have passed, Ebby's family has not given up hope of uncovering the truth. They continue to urge anyone with information to contact the police, seeking justice for Ebby. Her case remains an unsolved homicide, and her story serves as a painful reminder of the flaws in the justice system and the importance of relentlessly pursuing the truth. The Ebby Steppach case is not only a tale of loss, but also a stark warning about the shortcomings of investigative systems and the importance of perseverance. Nearly a decade since Ebby's disappearance in October 2015, her case remains unresolved. The Little Rock police claim they are still working on cold cases, including Ebby's, but their lack of transparency and past mistakes have eroded trust among her family and community. Critical details, such as the condition of Ebby's remains, or the investigation into the 4 suspects in the sexual assault, remain undisclosed, fueling doubts about the authorities' commitment. Ebby's legacy endures through the memories cherished by her family and friends. She's remembered as a vibrant young woman who brought laughter to others and was willing to sacrifice for those she loved. Her passion for art, photography, and her dream of becoming a beauty professional reflect a creative and ambitious spirit. Her family hopes Ebby's story will inspire people to speak out against injustice and raise awareness about supporting victims of sexual violence. The case also underscores the need for timely action in missing persons cases. Had the Little Rock police taken the case seriously from the start, thoroughly checking the drainage pipe or collecting evidence meticulously, the perpetrator might have been identified. Ebby's family continues to urge anyone with even the smallest piece of information to contact the police hotline, believing someone out there holds the final piece to unravel the mystery. Ebby Steppach's story is a reminder that justice, though delayed, is worth fighting for. While the perpetrator remains at large, Ebby's memory continues to drive her family and community to seek the truth, hoping that one day, the young woman with a generous heart will rest in peace. What are your thoughts on this case? What do you think might have happened to Ebby, and how can we prevent similar tragedies in the future? Please share your opinions in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you find this story worth sharing, please like, subscribe to the Mysterious Case channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss other intriguing cases. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.